Because I definitely can't deny it right now. I have a lot of hair going on. Um, it's just my deal. I'm an assistant manager at a gas station now. And I feel like looking like one of the animals from Where the Wild Things Are. Those guys in their movie version of it, that little book that we had when we were kids in school. But in the movie, when it starts, they're like, oh, they're like pile driving, landing on their butts on their own little wooden stick huts. Like that's me. I try to be like Beauty and the Beast, but except for no beauty, just the Beast, and then really nice to people, right? But what happens is my cashiers, they're getting these little arguments with customers about little things, and the customers be hassling them. I just tell them to yell up at the microphone that's on the ceiling. And they yell my name, and I come running out, and I go, I look like this. I go, I just have this look on my face or something, and whatever's going on stops. Like the conversation stops when they see me, and I'm not even giving people crazy eyes. I just go, huh, what's going on? What's going on? Everybody goes, they stop. They're like, oh no. So I weigh 300 pounds now too, and it's great. It's really great. I'm definitely not on a diet. I'm definitely using my body and my hair to my advantage. But that's about all it is that little part. One of the things that we've been getting into recently with people is they don't want to show us their IDs for cigarettes and alcohol and lottery just because they're 60 years old. What a bunch of suckers, huh? Why they should just like throw it out there and be like, oh, yeah, I'm glad we have this opportunity to buy cigarettes. No, it's our new business rule, right? We're carding everybody, and it's pissing these old people off. Like, I don't know how long this is going to last. Somehow the decision was made that, like, too much discretionary, um, leeway was being given to the cashiers, and some of the cashiers were getting too close down to the line of someone being like just barely 21, because kind of always we've had this rule in the convenience store industries where it's like if you're over 30 or 35, or now it's been 40 recently, if someone looks 40, we won't card them, right? Well, we have this third party company that our business we work for pays to come in with these secret shoppers, and they uh they try to buy alcohol or something. You have to card them, and they look like they usually look like 25. Well, some people, and they're even managers who thought someone looked like they were 40, um, didn't card them, and then they don't actually finalize the sale. They on the spot go, no, here's your red card. You failed the secret shopper for the ID recognition or whatever they call it. Um, so everybody's like on kind of backpedaling, like, all right, what do we got to do? Well, we'll just card everybody. So some of our regular customers are just like, what? You card me every day. Why do you have to card me? You know? And so I've made up this story that I start telling people. I mean, what I do is I slow it down, and if there's a line of people, I start explaining this story like kind of like slow, like I can't speak very quickly, and it just like wears people down to where they just give up their ID. I say, oh yeah, our gas station business is a national business, and it was just bought by this other national business, and the new national business that owns our national business has made a determination that across the board, our business is such a type of way of personalities that have been a part of it to where we're getting it too close to the line of selling almost to people who are under 21. And so they're requiring us to ID everybody, every single person. I know it might seem weird, but what happens also is that in our cashier position, we get bombarded all day long by people who don't want to give their IDs, and it kind of like erodes at how you feel. And then we get closer and closer and closer inadvertently to almost selling to someone who's maybe like in their mid 30s or like mid 20s, rather than knowing that someone's over 21 by looking at an ID. And people just go, well, this is ridiculous. And then we go, okay, well, we need to scan your ID if you want alcohol. We can't, even if you throw the money on the counter, it's it's not a purchase, it's larceny if you walk out the door. We can't sell it to you without scanning your ID. And then they say, we don't want you to scan our ID. We got we got like some spam in the mail and spam in our email last time and spam phone calls and telemarketers when we let someone scan our ID. We say, well, we're not forcing you to buy cigarettes here. You can buy everything else except for cigarettes unless you want to let us scan your ID. And like people either, I usually calm people down because it's just like a monotone thing, like da 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 da. And I have my face mask on. I'm like, all right, it's this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. But I don't know. People get pretty mad every once in a while. Like once a week, someone just leaves and goes, "I'm never coming back here." Like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. You're always welcome back, but we can't change our new policy. It's what they're telling us. And I'm not actually 100% sure that that's what the business is officially telling us, per se. But since they've been, a couple people have gotten fired in other of our larger businesses locations. So we basically are internally like choosing to go the opposite direction. All of us cashiers are just like not going to risk our paychecks because we don't make that much money. Like I make, shoot, take home like, I don't know, like 2,100 or something after taxes and my benefits that I pay for, my insurance and stuff. So, it's not all the money in the world. And I have two small businesses that I'm starting up. One of them is the bulk of my expenses. I spend $1,000 on business expenses, and I spend like $800 on personal expenses. And then I have like, no, I spend like $900. I spend like $1,100 on business expenses now. I'm right at the edge. This is what startup entrepreneurs do, though, with micro entrepreneurial business startups is we just like we get jobs, we spend most of our paychecks, and we keep our personal lives to a minimum. I spent $150 of that $1,100 I spent on business on one little small business activity, my paralegal subcontracting, because I had to have this little insurance policy and stuff and website. But my business is this software business, so software as a service, docupletionforms.com. I don't know. It's hard because I get attached to talking with people and being personable, but now we have this threat to our livelihoods where they're ratcheting up the standards. And I guess it's kind of happening. I mean, okay, so I say I've sort of made up this story. I haven't made up the story. It happened right as this big national business bought our other big national business. So I'm just like telling the story so many times during the day. But I'm pretty good at it. Like I calm people down with it. Well, a couple of our other cashiers, they're not people. They don't calm people down. They're like so afraid of it. And this is why we have the rule though, is because being a cashier, even if someone isn't trying to intimidate us about things, it's intimidating. And if someone is like a less, I don't know, I'm not aggressive. At the cash register, it's not a thing like it's not like it's not like it's not like fight training. You're not like doing military martial arts over the counter. But I just feel very secure at the counter, In most places, I just kind of state my business and go about my business. But I think some of our personalities at work that get a little nervous, and so they'll say it in a way that's like a little too like a little too. It sounds snippy, but they're trying to protect themselves. But they say like, nope, nope, that's the rule, that's the rule. And I don't say it like that. I just kind of, but I have to waste everybody's time by giving this whole drawl of an explanation. Kind of like my videos, like I just ramble on until people either give up or they leave, and it's just a stupid thing, though. I mean, it's not stupid. We have to make sure we don't sell to kids, and it's not stupid on our part because we have to make sure we don't get fired. It's maybe too much on the side of the business, but I think if I bought like if I let's say I bought like a 7-Eleven franchise, I would make two lines and I would make one line, a line that had like a little like a little metal bar that you could get into like with a turnstile and it would have just like a little line with a cash register if you wanted to buy cigarettes or alcohol. And if you couldn't if you had to slide an ID in the beginning if it didn't go through as you being over 21, it wouldn't let you into the line even. That'd be the only place we'd sell cigarettes and alcohol from. I know it sounds stupid, But there are such big penalties for violating that law, and now there's more. There's all these different eventualities too. Like if someone buys alcohol for off premise and then they uh, somehow they can try to maybe sue. I mean, the fear is that they can try to sue is if you sold to them and they look like they're 21, but they're over 21, but you shouldn't have sold to them because they didn't have an ID or something like that. Like if someone can prove you didn't card, it's a real far-fetched type of thing. But if they had any alcohol in their system at all, and then you didn't notice the alcohol and you didn't card them, and then they drank more alcohol that they bought from you without a card, they could try to say that you're negligent and added to added to the situation. So I don't know. I guess that's the fear. Mainly the fear is losing someone's license to sell tobacco and alcohol. Um, but yeah, these third party businesses change the whole deal. Getting these red cards, these green cards for selling or not selling to someone who's like 25 or 30. Like when I was in college, when I was 20, I used to stop shaving on Monday. Or like I'd stop shaving on Tuesday and I'd go on like Thursday or Friday night to 7-Eleven, like a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow. And I'd drink a beer first, right? And I'd go in there and I'd get an 18 pack of Bud Light. I'd put like a college shirt on or something. I'm like, oh yeah, it works real tough. I thought that if I smelled like I was already drinking, that they'd be okay to sell to someone who already drank because they weren't like, so I wouldn't seem like a kid. Like I had all the things backwards, and I didn't have my ID, and they just sell to me because they were just like probably remiss convenience store owners who didn't give a crap. They knew we were in a college town. They're like, well, this guy won't get busted or something. Maybe it's because it was the late '90s and everything wasn't ratcheted up so far. Um, Shoot, the only rule I think I followed the right way was like show up there if you're gonna. It's like if somebody else is buying you alcohol, like don't be in the car right there in front of the convenience store and be like, oh yeah, 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 like pointing at the beer you want or something. You're not supposed to sell to people if you know they're gonna give it to someone in the car, type of stuff. There's just all these rules that are common sense and then maybe like a huge pain in the ass at the same time. There's a reason why you have to buy one of these businesses to like really feel super happy about staying in it long term. Like most people try to find something else or just like check out of life to a certain extent. I mean, it's kind of fun like being a bartender. I wasn't a bartender. I flipped burgers in a bar, but it was right next to the bar and the bartender, and I had this little window, and it was like this cool little scene, right? That was fun. This is fun. We have to do all this other crap like all the time, like in the middle of like a cool conversation with someone who randomly is just a cool person buying a whatever, a candy bar, some gas, or a cheeseburger. Not a cheeseburger. We don't sell cheeseburgers. The other place I work, we sold cheeseburgers. Get a little salty here. You know, a 6 pack or something. We had to like jump into the bathroom and mop the floor and clean the toilets and clean the sinks. Like, kind of always jumping around like, you know, that little football drill where you call it like juggling monkeys or something, where you're like going one person jumping over the next. That's like how we're supposed to do our work. So I don't know. This stuff like gets to people so much that it's like almost like we spend so much time having to talk about carding people that I end up just like in the cooler for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, just filling the coolers because my cashiers like they like get flustered about getting yelled at. And I'm like, all right, well I'll go do the work. You just stand there and feel all right, you know. On swing shifts, people really do just like lay into people. These kids are like college kids. They're just out of college. Um, you know, gas stations are super fun though. They're not super fun, but there's a reason why people get into them because there are a lot of little intricacies and nuance and like we have better crews as a like a permutation of the people who work there who work together better and we get better work done and you know we'll be like a different influence on each other of how we all talk. And there's some crews where everybody interrupts everybody. And I have to like always break up the crew itself. Like, all right, so you do this, now you do this, and you do this. It just is what it is. Got a card payment. I gotta make sure to card everybody.